पिछले वीडियो में हमने देखा था यॉर्क मिंस्टर का एक्सटीरियर। वीडियो के इस पार्ट में कैथेड्रल के अंदर जाकर इतिहास को खंगालेंगे। कैथेड्रल के अंदर एक स्टाफ ने हमें बेसिक इंस्ट्रक्शंस और इन्फॉर्मेशन दिए।
They're wearing a red lanyard. They've got lots of information they can tell you, so it's worth when it's quiet like this to ask. And you can take photos.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's have a look. See if we've got a guide in the nose. Yes, because we don't have a lot of information on in some of the places because they're used for worship, so we don't like to put too many signs out. Some two hosts. Has anyone got eyes on a guide?
ऐसे 11.5 पाउंड्स का टिकट था जनरल पब्लिक के लिए, लेकिन क्योंकि हम स्टूडेंट हैं तो इन्होंने 9 पाउंड्स का रखा हुआ है टिकट। और एक बात ये भी है कि इन्होंने गाइड दिया हमें भी, जो सारा चीज़ें दिखाएंगे। मैं देखते हैं, काफ़ी आप खुद देख लीजिए कैसा है ये।
So what, do you just want like a general information about the history of the Minster, what you can see here?
It would be great to know.
Oak was finished by about 1470. So
ये 1470 में बन के पूरा हुआ और इसको बनने में 250 साल लग गए।
Although the actual site, if you like, is actually a fair bit older than that. Come this way because we want to get a little bit closer to the central tower because then it is easier to kind of explain to you a little bit about what you can see and what we can talk about.
मिंस्टर में 2000 लोग बैठ सकते हैं। 2000.
About 2000, yeah. This, when it's full of chairs, it can seat about 2000 people. Now the roof, the vault.
इस रूफ का टेक्निकल नेम है वॉल्ट। वॉल्ट जो कि पत्थर से बनी दिखती है, हकीकत में वुड यानी लकड़ी से बनी है।
Are made of wood. One of the reasons being, as far as we know, York is not a good place for building big, heavy structures like skyscrapers or anything like that. That's one of the reasons why we don't have any skyscrapers in York. Because there's lots of soft gravels and clays, and if you built a skyscraper, it'd just start sinking. So they built of wood because it was nice and light. We have two big problems with wood. One being that we attract a lot of insects, and the other problem we have with wood is fire. We've had 3 major fires here in York over the since 1829.
1829 की पहली आग ने क्वायर को नष्ट कर दिया।
Completely rebuilt. That's the main altar. And what you can see there is just over there, that is the pulpit. Now, when a service is held, normally that's conducted by the dean, which is he's the most important official in the cathedral.
आर्चबिशप पूरे नॉर्दर्न इंग्लैंड के चर्च के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबल है।
Northern England. But the Archbishop cannot, in theory, be allowed into the cathedral unless the dean lets him in. So sometimes the Archbishop will preach there, but mostly the dean will preach there.
कैथेड्रल के इस हिस्से को ट्रांसेप्ट कहते हैं।
To north, that's called the transept. The transept, that's the south transept, the north transept, which goes across the main axis of the cathedral. And this, in fact, was the earliest part of the cathedral. So that's where they started in 1226, building right across what was then the existing Norman cathedral. What you can see there, that's what we call the Advent wreath. Now the Advent wreath, now the story of Advent is that Advent is the coming of Christ, and the kind of story in the Bible is that the 3 wise men that came from the east, the 3 wise men or the 3 kings, it depends on which version you read, they see the star on sort of 30 days before the birth of Christ, and the star leads them to Bethlehem, where they see the birth of the Christ child. So that's what the Advent wreath means. Because lanterns can let light in as well as let light out, and those 8 big windows there, each one of those windows, by the way, is about 18 meters high, and that lets natural light.
Those windows,
those windows there, they're 18 meters. Sorry, that's mine. I think
इन विशालकाय विंडोज की हाइट 56 फीट है.
So there's about 3 feet to a meter. So each one of those windows 56 feet high, so pretty big. Another way of thinking about the tower,
200 फीट ऊंचे इस टावर के नीचे 12 डबल डेकर बसें आ सकती हैं.
on top of the other, because from floor to ceiling, floor to vault, it's about 200 feet. Now then, let's just sort of come over here. Sorry, I'm just kind of, if I could just sort of ask you to sort of come this way.
Hello.
This is the north transept. That is the Five Sisters, called the Five Sisters window.
It's really interesting to know.
No, actually, just have a quick turn around, yeah. There you go. You've just missed, I'm afraid, what we call the Hindley clock. Those 2 men on either side. Yeah, they're called quarterjacks.
ये क्लॉक मैकेनिज्म 250 साल पुराना है.
1730, 1750, so that's about 250 years old or thereabouts. That's what we call the astronomical clock. It's actually a war memorial, and it's dedicated to 18,000 Allied flyers who lost their lives whilst flying from air bases in Yorkshire alone during the Second World War.
ये बेसिकली बोल रहे हैं कि वॉर मेमोरियल
Feel
ही
free to
वर्ल्ड वॉर 2
join
के
in.
बाद ऐसा कुछ बनाया था इन्होंने. ये चैप्टर हाउस है. मिंस्टर को लोगों का एक समूह गवर्न करता है जिसे कैनन कहते हैं. डीन कैनन्स के हेड होते हैं और इनको कलेक्टिवली डीन एंड चैप्टर बोलते हैं. इस जगह पे डीन और चैप्टर्स की मीटिंग होती है. मिथिकल और मोरल कहानियों को चैप्टर हाउस में कलाकृतियों के माध्यम से उकेरा गया है. इस दीवार पे एक कैट और एक माउस को बनाया गया है. मध्ययुगीन यूरोप में कैट को ईविल का प्रतीक माना जाता था. ईविल शक्तियाँ आम इंसान के प्रतीक माउस का हमेशा पीछा करती रहती है.
Is a kind of an innocent person minding his own business, and the cat is like an agent of the devil sneaking up behind him. So this little thing seen here is a kind of a warning to make sure that you're looking around you, so that the forces of evil aren't creeping up behind you. Long since lost touch with him.
ये सेंट एडमंड के सिर की रक्षा करती हुई एक वुल्फ है. सेंट एडमंड एक क्रिश्चियन सैक्सन किंग थे. 9वीं शताब्दी में वाइकिंग्स ने इंग्लैंड पे हमला किया.
England was invaded by waves of pagans. These were the Vikings from Scandinavia, and
किंग एडमंड वाइकिंग से खिलाफ लड़ते हुए पकड़े गए और उनका सिर काट दिया गया.
by the Vikings, and they beheaded him.
King Edmund was beheaded by Vikings.
He was beheaded by the Vikings.
वाइकिंग्स को भगाने के बाद सैक्सन आर्मी जब किंग एडमंड के पास पहुंची तो देखा कि उनके सिर और क्राउन की रक्षा एक फीमेल वुल्फ कर रही है.
Were being guarded by a female wolf to prevent the Vikings from carrying out any further desecration to the body.
Female wolf.
The wolf is so that is a wolf, and the wolf was guarding the corpse of King Edmund. And what then happened was that King Edmund was then given his funeral, and the wolf followed the funeral procession to the gates of the abbey in Bury St Edmunds.
चैप्टर हाउस की दीवारें ऐसे ही जाने कितनी कहानियां समेटे हुए हैं, जैसे कि ये नोजी पार्कर की कहानी यहाँ हमने आर्चबिशप, राजाओं और अन्य लोगों के टुम्ब देखे। ये ईस्ट एंड का ग्रेट विंडो है। ग्रेट ईस्ट विंडो की साइज एक टेनिस कोर्ट के बराबर है।
It's about the size of a tennis court.
Tennis
so
court.
It's about the size of a tennis court. So you could have, you could have Roger Federer. You could have Andy Murray. Plenty of room to play around there. And what you've got, the window itself is 1405 to 1408. So it's about 600 years old. It was designed by a man called John Thornton. You see what we call now the tracery panels. That's what we call, in the archway we can see there. Those were 144 panels showing the company of heaven. Then it looks as if there are 2 rows of square panels, but in fact there are 3 because we're obscured by that stone screen there. But there are actually 3 rows of panels, and that tells.
विंडो पैनल्स दुनिया के शुरुआत और अंत की कहानियाँ बताती हैं। कैथेड्रल में रोमन समय की और एक्सकेवेशन से निकले कुछ पुराने पत्थर इसके ऐतिहासिक महत्व को बताते हैं। यॉर्क मिंस्टर इतिहास का वो पन्ना है जिसने सैकड़ों वर्षों तक यॉर्क शहर को बनते और बिगड़ते देखा है।